I-V-M.
Hi, I'm Utsav, a behavior researcher by training and a slow traveler by passion. Postcards from Nowhere is a travel podcast where I condense a decade of travel experiences and explore not just the where, but also the why and how to travel. My stories emerged from slow traveling the less explored parts of the world: Bosnia and Herzegovina, Armenia, Uzbekistan, and even China. At the end of each story, I give practical tips and new ideas about how to travel better. This week, I take you to the volcanoes of Indonesia and how we are altering the way our skies are going to look in the future. In August of 2016, I dragged my massively unfit self on the steep inclines of Mount Ijen, located in the eastern part of the island of Java in Indonesia. But Mount Ijen is no ordinary volcano. In fact, it is one of the world's most unusual. That's because instead of producing the usual red lava and black smoke, its underground activities result in bright blue flames rising up into the air. It is a sight to behold, and I highly recommend you Google the images. By the way, the bright blue flames are seen when the volcano's sulfuric gases come in contact with the air at a temperature of 360 degrees. The Ijen volcano has some of the highest levels of sulfur in the world, and long exposures are known to cause lung damage. Getting to Ijen isn't easy either. The trek starts at about 2 in the night, and one passes through noxious sulfur fumes on the way to the summit. Sounds like a very unpleasant trek, right? But Ijen attracts thousands of climbers each year and is very much of the tourist trail. And I too hopped 2 volcanoes in my 1-week short trip. But about 400 kilometers away, in the Lesser Sunda Islands of Indonesia, lies Mount Tambora. Tambora, unfortunately, does not elicit the kind of interest Ijen does. On an average, only about 50 people in a year summit Mount Tambora. Oh, and being remote is not the reason why so few people go there. The story goes back to the 5th of April, 1815. Mount Tambora started to rumble with activity. Over the next few days, the rumbling grew. On April 10th, 1815, it began to spew liquid rocks from deep beneath the Earth's crust. It was one of the most powerful eruptions in recorded history. The volcano's effect on the planet's climate was so drastic that global temperatures dropped for nearly a decade. It spewed so much ash and aerosols into the atmosphere that the sky darkened and the sun was blocked from view. It led to what some have called 1816 the year without a summer, which was accompanied by food shortages, severe monsoons, and reductions in ocean temperature. In 1816, there was 80% more global rainfall than expected, particularly for Switzerland, France, Germany, and Poland. 1818 saw the opposite: unusually low rainfall, which caused droughts in most of Europe and Asia. While 10,000 people died as a direct result of the eruption, another 60,000 died due to indirect causes such as starvation and disease. All the ash and other particulates in the atmosphere led to a reddening of skies at twilight. This happened because ash and particulates scatter sunlight more than the Earth's atmosphere does on its own, so it appears redder. The unintended effect of this reddening was on the artists who painted sunsets, reproducing precisely what they saw. Unknowingly, they created an artistic record of the atmospheric conditions of the years succeeding the eruption. Almost 200 years later, these paintings caught the eye of a group of Greek and German researchers, led by Christos Xeriphos of the Academy of Athens. They realized that they could use the colors included in those painted skies to better understand historical climate patterns. By comparing the amount of red and green in the painted sunsets, Xeriphos was able to calculate the amount of volcanic aerosols in the sky where the painting was created. To demonstrate that the depiction of sunsets in paintings actually reflected an environmental reality, Xeriphos created a measurement called aerosol optical depth, which was derived from the ratio of red and green pigments along the horizon in the paintings he examined. He compared aerosol optical depth for paintings created between 1500 and 2000, a period that included more than 50 large eruptions with other climate data. He validated his findings by data from Greenland's ice cores. All this is great, but what does it have to do with climate change? Man-made pollution also scatters sunlight, just like volcanic ash does. As we continue to pollute our planet, increasing aerosols and particulate content in our atmosphere, we are going to change the way our skies look. I'm reminded of a 2015 documentary narrated by Sir David Attenborough, a natural historian. The documentary tracks the evolution of flight in animals. It was titled Conquest of the Skies. Fast forwarding a few decades, we may see another conquest of the skies, one which may not be worth celebrating.
If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on our social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I am Utsav Memory on Twitter and YVTravel42 on Instagram.
I hope you enjoyed that show. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I want to let you all know about two new shows that we've launched this week. The first one is Millennial Athlete, hosted by Tanvi and Shlok. Both of them are, they spent their life playing badminton, and they know a lot of athletes, and they want to talk about the particular challenges that athletes face. Really, really great conversations. Do definitely check that out. The other show that I wanted to mention to you that we launched this week is Naan Curry. Naan Curry is a show it's about food and the history of food and the economics around food and its consumption and all that kind of stuff. It's a really, really interesting conversation. It's hosted by Sadaf, an author chef and former MasterChef India finalist, and Archit, who is a researcher who writes on behavioral science and economics. Definitely worth checking out. Besides that, we had a great week as always, right? Great stuff on all the normal shows. Do check those out. But with that, hope to see you again next week.
Have you ever wondered how successful people do their thing? How do they navigate the challenges they often face? Are you wondering about the future of restaurants, film, education, technology, and everything else in between? Hi, I'm Gauri Devidyal, best known for being one of the brains behind The Table, an award-winning restaurant in Bombay. One thing my life as a restaurateur has given me is the opportunity to meet with some truly inspiring people, most often just by chatting with strangers at the community table. And that's what this podcast is about. It's about learning the new dimensions of business and understanding how different people swim this sea. It's an opportunity for me to pick their brains and ask them all the questions on my mind, whether it's about learning from their past experiences or talking about future trends. Through their journeys, stories, and insights, I hope you too, like me, will come away inspired and energized. So come, join me every Wednesday with your favorite drink because this round is on me.